may miss it.
Yes.
And so we submitted a project, the restaurant project. It was accepted. The review team was assigned, and the project was confirmed. The next step, then was for each person in the review team to log in, check the overview, access the project, and then review the project, comment, and close out their review. Yes. And we ask that each reviewer create at least one comment and then close out their portion of the review.
Well, as you noticed, I mean, some of the reviewers, they didn't do the comments, so I had to close them 10 minutes ago, and that's what I did. So it won't happen again.
Okay. And you know, that could happen in the normal course of business. So that's all okay. So then where we are right now is the administrative requirements. So let's go to the project. We go to Plan Review Overview. And now we see that the project is in what we call Quality Control Review. And that's where the project administrator, who is listed as Carlos, at this point Carlos would go in and he would see from the overview, bear with me one more time, he can see from the overview that all 8 reviewers have completed their work, and they have 6 issues that need to be accommodated. Now, when 8 of 8 close out their review, then Carlos should have gotten a notice to tell him that the project has been closed out by reviewers and now needs his attention. So the reviewers have done their work at this point, and now it's up to the administrator. And I'm going to go through what Carlos or whoever the project administrator, what their duties are. And the first thing I bring your attention to is this plan review status, because it tells you what's next. The system knows who you are, what your role is, and it's going to tell you what's next for you. So this block of information is telling Carlos that his action is required. The review cycle is still under review. Please close out the current review cycle to continue. And here we have a button right here that's going to close out the review cycle. But before Carlos closes out the review cycle, he most likely would like to come here and take a quick look at the comments that were written. So you can use these little arrows here to expand the comments. And some of them, these are just test comments, so some of them make sense and some of them don't make too much sense. But Carlos would look at Adrian's comment, and if it was appropriate, he would just go on to the next comment. If he found something wrong with it, Carlos could edit the comment or make a reply. And if he was referring to maybe the wrong code section for whatever the comment was, he could make that correction. It's not section 17, it's section 18, those kinds of things. So Carlos is reviewing the work here, and he's making sure that all of these comments are appropriate. And so
now, let me ask you something, Carl. Walt, sure. I'm sorry. The reply and on the comments, that's just going to be an option for the administrator. It's not going to be the designer or the applicant, correct?
No, the reply is for the designer, because the designer is going to need to reply to whatever the comment was.
Okay. But in this case, we're acting as the designer, so that's why you're saying that Carlos, as his role as an applicant, can...
No, Carlos is overviewing. He's just basically looking over everybody else's work just to make sure that it's appropriate. And so if he agrees with the comments that have been written, Carlos would come up and click this button here to close out the review cycle. So I'm going to do that on Carlos's behalf. So Carlos, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to do this on your behalf today, acting as if I'm Carlos. So we're going to close.
Not a problem.
Okay. So we approve of these comments that have been written. We've reviewed them. Now we're going to close out the review cycle. And when we close out the review cycle, we get another different action box. Now that the review cycle has been closed out, we're awaiting administrative approval. So Carlos would say, well, we've got 6 open issues here that have to be corrected, so we're going to decline the review. So as Carlos, I'm going to click decline the review, and we get a new screen here that says, would you like to create a document before declining this review cycle? And the answer is yes. We want to issue our comment letter to the applicant. So we'll, out of our directory, out of our library of documents, we're going to select comment letter. We're not going to approve. We're going to select the comment letter because there's corrections that need to be made. So when we select the comment letter, the system brings up what the comment letter is going to look like. And if you want to do a preview, you can click on preview right here, and it's going to generate a PDF version of the comment letter. So we're going to confirm that comment letter. So what Carlos is, and here now the system's asking us, do we want to send an email? And yes, we want to send the email to the applicant, and we have attached right here. We've attached the comment letter. Okay.
Open the PDF document so we can see it.
Yeah. Take a look at it right here. On the right-hand side of the screen, here's our comment letter. And let me just... And because the system, knows what the project is, it's addressing it for you. It gives this is a PDF that's attached to the email going back to the owner, back to the applicant, right here myself because I'm the applicant. It gives some basic instructions. Comments listed below reflect remaining issues that must be addressed. And then we give the applicant a list of the open issues. So all of the reviewers have created their comments. Carlos has gone in as the administrator and closed out the project and issued the comment letter. Here's a copy of the comment letter that we can look over, and this is exactly what the applicant will receive in their email. And it has a link back to the project, and also each comment has a live link back into the plan set to help the applicant locate where this comment resides in that 100-page submittal. So it really helps them find where the issues are and helps them to determine how to correct those issues. So there's a copy of the comment letter. And we're going to say, yes, we approve it. We're going to go ahead and submit the release of that comment letter. And so now we're done on the first review cycle. And if I refresh the project page, we can see we've got a new status bar, and it says review and resubmit. So what has happened is the reviewers have completed their work, the administrator has reviewed the reviewer's work, and he has closed the project and issued the comment letter. Just with a couple of clicks of the mouse, because all the comment letters are in the library. They're templates that we build according to your instructions. So that the comment letter that you saw was created, and a copy of it is kept down here in the document manager area. So
that's going to be for every submittal. We're going to have a copy there, so you'll be able to download it. Or okay.
Yes, absolutely. So now the process, if we go back to our PowerPoint to guide us, the administrator has closed out the review cycle. He's rejected the review because it has open issues that need to be corrected. He's issued the comment letter. And so we have closed out the first review cycle, and we are now we have a break because we're awaiting a resubmittal and response to the comments. So we've completed our first review cycle, and now what we'll do would be, once we get the corrections, we then will get a second submittal. So as I'm the applicant, let me go back to the project and let me show you what the applicant sees. So the applicant, this is the applicant's management page, and it has a listing of all his projects, what's next for the applicant, what the status is, waiting for applicant to resubmit. And so now, as the applicant, we're going to review the comments, write up our corrections, and resubmit. The first thing the applicant sees is his original application form. If he needs to correct his address or contact information, he can do it now. Otherwise, we're going to acknowledge and confirm. I'm the applicant again. We have to kind of keep remembering who's operating the screen here. So the applicant has his progress bar up here, and the application part is done. And we're in step 2, where the applicant must respond to the issues. So while the review team is doing other work, the applicant has got his list of requirements here, and he's required to answer each and every one of these open issues before he can move to the next page. So we're going to reply. We're going to go down through here, and I'm going to make some replies. So a likely reply to submit calculations, I'll say submitted with resubmitted documents. And that's my answer to the first issue. Now I'll go down and I'll answer the next issue, which looks like it's a measurement, but I'll make a reply anyhow. I'll just say acknowledged. Now, if it was a specific comment, like we need to have illuminated exit sign here, then I would have a specific response to that. So your reviewers aren't going to be looking for specific responses. But I'm acting as the applicant and just demonstrating what the applicant needs to do to respond. And we just have a couple more. We've got one here from Jamie that says wind speed shall be 175, exposure C. We're going to reply to that. Understood and corrected. Please see resubmitted documents, sheet S101. Kind of a typical way of responding to an open issue. There are 2 sets of structural sheets. Please coordinate and remove documents. And we'll say done. Please see resubmittal.
Does the reviewer get any notification about those replies, or he needs to actually?
Yeah. Once he's completed this this form page here, the reviewers will you'll see what takes place next. We're very close to being done here. Provide outside air calculations. We're going to answer that one.
So basically, they need to answer to each comment, which is good, right?
I'm going to submit that. And so now, as the applicant, I've answered all of the open issues, and I can click Save and Continue. If there's additional documents, if we've changed our drawings, now we're going to upload the revised set.
Right.
And so I'll just do a real quick, I'll just grab a short file here for demonstration purposes, and I'll go ahead and upload that. Now, in a real situation, that would be a second version or a resubmitted version of the original documents.
Correct.
So now that the applicant has uploaded his resubmittal and confirmed to submit for review, now the intake review team has just received a new notice. And if we go to the overview, we can see we've got 2 projects in intake review. One of them is our restaurant, and we've already had a first review. So all of your reviewers that are assigned to this project, or the administrator has gotten a email notice that says this resubmittal has come back in, and will you accept it? So the action required is review the resubmitted documents. So if we go down here to the document area, here's our first submittal.
Mm-hmm.
Here's our plans for the first submittal with 9 corrections on it. Here is the resubmitted document, although I've just stuck a test project in there. So now we can compare these 2 sets of documents and determine, first of all, the administrator has to determine, okay, did we get what we need to accept this for review? And we're going to assume that, yes, we're going to go ahead and accept the submittal package for the back check. So I'll click on Accept Submittal Package. I've done that for Carlos's, acting as Carlos. If Carlos goes on vacation and we have to reassign a project administrator to take his place while he's gone, we can do that here. We're going to send an email to the applicant that says we've accepted your submittal package. The next stage is, are we ready to assign the reviewers? And this is an administrative action. Yes, we're going to go ahead and assign reviewers for the restaurant, and this is going to be review number 2, express workflow number 2. And then here are our assigned members. So Carlos can look at this and determine, well, Jamie's on vacation, so I'm going to have to do his portion of the review myself. So this is where you get the opportunity to manage who's going to review the second phase of this project or the back check. typically it's the same team that did the first review, unless somebody happens to be on vacation or has left the department. So as we go down through here and we adjust who our review team is, when we're satisfied with that, then we simply come down and we submit this page. Now all of the reviewers, 7 email notifications were sent to the review team. So all 7 reviewers have been given an email notice that says this project's in for the back check. Also, an email notification has been sent to the applicant to let him know that the project is currently under review. So now where we are is we're at the point where we've accepted the resubmittal, we've assigned the review team and confirmed the project. Now we can begin the back check with the review team. And it's very similar, obviously, to the first review, with the exception of now we can compare those 2 sets of documents. So the review, at this point, the review team would log in, check the overview, access the project, review the responses to their comments. So what they'll be doing is each reviewer is going to come here. Jamie's going to come here, and his comment was the wind speed shall be 175. The applicant says he understood and corrected it. Please see the documents, sheet S101. So Jamie would go click this link right here, take him into the plan set, verify that the change was made on the documents. He then would close the issue. And notice here we've got 6 open issues. So Jamie would close this issue. I'll do this one for him. And he automatically populated as a note here that says issued closed. Jamie can write anything in here that he wants to, but if it's straightforward, he would just leave that in there and click submit. If he didn't, I'm going to cancel this. If he didn't find the correction made appropriately, he would reply whatever additional information. I could not find the answer on sheet S101, and then that would lead to another rejection of the review cycle. So that's how we evaluate each and every one of these issues. We either close them out or we ask for more information, and it goes into a third review. Now I'll pause here for a moment to see if there are questions.
Any questions?
Okay, so
questions.
All right, it's pretty straightforward. So at this point, again, each reviewer comes in and takes a look at the response to his comment, and then hopefully, if it's an appropriate response, they'll close out the issue. When all of the close out the issue, once all of the issues are addressed, then each reviewer has to come down and close out their portion of the review again.
Why those are in green, Walt? If it's a second review?
Yeah, we should have a second review here, and it's probably something I've done in the workflow, or not done. Bear with me a second while I try and make a correction. There we go. So all I had to do was refresh my page. I'm sorry. So here we have our second review, and all of the reviewers are assigned again. So what we're doing is the back check, and remember, we're going to go through, each reviewer is going to go through their open issues, close them out if they agree with the response. Once all of that work is done, they'll come down here and close out their review again. Once all of these names turn to green and the back check has been completed, then the administrator will get a notification and either approve or reject the review and go into another review cycle.
Okay, so let's say, for example, we get the second submittal, each review opens the document, compares with the first submittal, and all those open issues were corrected. They close the issue, and then they go to the Express workflow and close the, how do you call this? The review cycle?
Yeah, they close out their portion of the review.
Okay.
And they'll add a time tracking entry if you're tracking the amount of hours put in on the project.
Right, but that will be basically the workflow after the first submittal.
That's right.
They did the comments, they got back reply, they close the open issues if they were corrected, and then they close the review cycle again.
Their portion of the review cycle.
Right.
Once each individual reviewer has closed their portion, all of these will be green, and then the administrator, when these are green, the system knows they're done, will send the administrator, Carlos, an email and tell him the reviewers are done, now it's time for you to do your portion, which is to either accept the review and approve it, or to decline it because there are still problems that have not been corrected. And he does that simply by selecting Create a Document and then pulling from the library a comment letter if it's not approved, or if he does approve the project, he can click approval notice, and the system will send out an approval letter to the applicant and then transition the project into inspections because it's been approved, and a notice to proceed has been submitted to the applicant so he can go out and break ground.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to point out, let me just go back to the project. See, we're under review again. The system has automatically moved that from intake review into under review. So this is your administrative view of all projects, and you can trace down where that project is by expanding these bars. So we see here now that we're in review number 2, and that none of the assigned reviewers have completed their work yet, and we still have 6 outstanding issues that have not been accepted. So let's go over to the project, and one thing I wanted to demonstrate to you was your time tracking report is always active and gives you a breakdown. Right now, a total of 5.5 hours have been spent reviewing this project, and here are the results. You can create recreate a report and email that report to your finance department if they want to use this report as part of their payroll or your payroll department, or however you want to use this report here. So where we are is we're in our back check. Give me the rest of the afternoon to put up a live resubmittal. Remember, to save time,
right,
I just put in a mock resubmittal. So give me this afternoon, and I'll put in a good resubmittal of this set of documents, and then your team can do the back check. They can go in and review and approve the comments, close out their portion of the review cycle. The administrator then can come up and approve the project and issue the approval letter. And I'll, like I did with the last week's assignment, I'll put together an email and try to be specific to guide everybody on what needs to be done this week as part of our evaluation. So what we're trying to do is to really go through the entire process. We started the initial review. We did the response. I answered the questions. I did a resubmittal, and now your end will be to begin the back check, have your guys log in, check the overview, and review their responses and close them out. Then the administrator will come in and close out the review cycle, accept or reject the review, issue the comment letter or the approval in this case, if we're going to approve the project, and then we'll be done. The review will be complete. We'll have done the initial submittal and the back check, and we'll have issued all of our comment letters, and our documents will be complete at that point. So if it meets with your approval, Carmelo, then we'll use this week to do the back check, and this time next week we'll be able to confirm that we've completed the entire process.
Right. And are we gonna do part of the? Are we gonna do the evaluation for the inspections module?
We can't do the inspections portion until after we do the evaluation of the electronic plan review and we get an approval on that.
All right. Now, let me ask you something, because Carlos asked me the other day that he received actually kind of like a small project that he was thinking maybe we could use to finish the evaluation. I'm not sure, Carlos, do you still have that idea in mind? So we have time to do it and coordinate with Rod, or?
Hello? Yep.
Yes?
No, we're on the review right now. That's a priority and very fast-track project, so we went ahead and we started our review, and we're halfway.
Okay, then we will continue how we are then. Okay.
Uh-huh. Thank you anyways.
All right, Carl. So
did we get any? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, keep going. I just want to clarify that.
Sure. Did we get any comments back from the review team in terms of they had any difficulties, anything I could help with?
Well, they're kind of I mean, they still need to spend some time and know the tool, know the Bluebeam most likely, because the way that your system works, I mean, it's pretty much straightforward, but they need to get familiar with some of the tool chest and, kind of build their own library for the comments and everything.
Sure.
Besides that, I haven't got any requests or any questions so far. I hope they can spend more time this week on it, and and formulate at least a couple of questions each per reviewer, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Well, then I'll spend the afternoon. I'll update that back check file, that resubmittal. I'll let you know when I've done that, and I'll distribute to the team some instructions for completing the back check and what we hope to see this time next week. Does that work for you?
Perfect. Good.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, then that's how we'll proceed, unless you have other questions that I can address.
Well, to me, I'm okay with that. Do you guys have any questions?
No, at least I don't have any other questions.
All right, Carl. Well, let's set up the next session for next Wednesday, same time.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you have a chance, send the invitation, and please include Carlos Penin for the next session. He wants to be able to participate. He asked me this morning. Okay.
Very good. Sure. Very good.
Okay.
I shall take care of that.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You have a good rest of the day.
Thank all of you very much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.